If I wasn't in fashion, I would have definitely been dancing somewhere. My sisters took the traditional path. One is a doctor, one went into engineering. So I was the black sheep in the family. Styling is a lot of coordination. 90% of styling is coordination. Okay, coordinating with 1,000 different designers from India, from internationally, working across different time zones. It just looks very glamorous, but it is a lot of work behind the scenes. I keep telling that to my clients even now. If you invest in one item, you should be able to wear it in 10 different ways. One of the jobs of a stylist is to gauge personality.
Years back,
Uh-huh.
styling was not looked at as a profession, maybe.
That's right.
How did you get your head around it that I can make this a profession?
Even like in my early 20s, I did not know I would get into styling. I think my first male celebrity that I styled was Saif Ali Khan.
Wow.
And today, even real people want to look like Bollywood stars. You know, they want to look the best. For the longest time, I actually avoided weddings in my career.
Oh, really? How did you think that, oh, I want to start my own label now?
Every time there was something that I wanted and I couldn't find it, I would make it. One of my biggest motivating person at that time was Sri Devi ma'am. One of my early launches for my brand, she was there to support me.
Who has been your most fun celebrity to work with?
I very fondly remember a recent bride who was, at her wedding. She was getting her hair and makeup done, and she realized that the lehenga, she was in her blouse, and she realized the lehenga was actually not to be found.
Hey everyone, this is Shruti. Welcome to my podcast, I'm Just Curious, where I talk of all things I'm curious about with the people I'm curious about and how they turn their passion into their profession. In today's episode, I'm talking to Esha Amin, a renowned celebrity stylist and trained bharatnatyam dancer with an inclination towards all forms of art since childhood. From Bollywood superstars like Amitabh Bachchan and Saif Ali Khan to young actors like Kartik Aaryan and Janhvi Kapoor and sports personalities to brides and top industrialists of India, she has styled them all. Adding to her impressive repertoire, she's also the creative force behind her own fashion label, bringing her unique vision to the forefront of the industry. Join me as we dive into the multifaceted world of fashion, art and entrepreneurship. Hi Isha, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, Shruti?
Good. Thank you. Like, it's a lovely space that you have in your home.
Thank you.
And you're
so
looking
much.
very vibrant. It looks like you are from Kutch, not me. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've dressed like this because I know you're coming from Kutch. So
Thank you. I really love that. So, let's start from the beginning. Talk to me about your childhood.
Okay.
What did you dream about? Like, what did you want to become? What were your dreams? And, have they changed or it's the same?
If I wasn't in fashion, I would have probably been a dancer because my childhood was all about bharatnatyam classes for like good 7.5 years. And then I moved into learning salsa and jive. And so if I wasn't in fashion, I would have definitely been dancing somewhere.
Lovely. I would love to see you dance.
We'll keep that for another episode.
Yeah. I wouldn't be able to dance Bharatnatyam, although I have tried my hands on Kathak.
Oh, nice.
And I get it.
Similar, a lot of grace and all of that.
Yeah, it requires a lot of patience and focus.
That's right.
So, had I kept on with it, maybe I would have learned more patience. Focus I'm good with, but yeah. So, from there to fashion. How did that come about? What got you into fashion?
Fashion also was like a dream that was with me while I was growing up. So thanks to my mom, credits to her because, when I was 4 or 5 and that age, she always saw me being innovative with my dolls' dresses and trying to do something new with it and, always trying to have fun with what they wear. And as I kept growing, she just noticed that I had a certain pattern to what I was. I loved drawing. I loved art. I always was sketching and doing things like that. So she saw a certain pattern in the kind of things I drew, which was always, like if there was a magazine cover kept in front of me, I would sketch I would replicate the silhouette,
Right.
like sketch. I would never get the
The
face.
line sketching, it's called? Something like that?
Like I would sketch what she's wearing.
Yeah.
And I kept doing that very often. And and she kind of then told me that, you should be a fashion designer. So I didn't know what that was at that time, but it kind of was in my mind that I am going to be a fashion designer.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, and thankfully, my sisters took the traditional path. One is a doctor, one went into engineering. So I was the black sheep in the family, and a typical South Indian home always has one doctor and one engineer. So they did that, and I got to do what I love doing.
Yeah, for a South Indian home, I can agree that that's a little of a shock to the family that,
Yeah.
Yeah. Doing something apart from engineering or like you mentioned,
medicine.
being
Yeah.
medicine. So talk to me about like, how from there, like you were inclined towards fashion and clothes and like silhouettes and stuff. And what got you finally into styling? Like what sparked your curiosity that designing is one side of it, but
Correct.
I want to put
Correct.
looks together. Like how did
Correct.
that come about?
So, I mean, styling is something that I'd never planned. Even like in my early 20s, I did not know I would get into styling. So,
Okay.
I studied fashion at NIFT, Bombay, and I, graduated just to be a fashion designer. So, I was just training in that, and it so happened that when I graduated, I started working with this European export house, and I was in Paris for one of the meetings, and I kind of was so appalled by the way everyone puts things together, puts their looks together. Like everything around was a runway.
Yeah,
Yeah,
people are
like-
not just wearing;
Yeah,
they're like
yeah.
they're like
It was
presenting
so
their
effortless.
personality.
The VMs in the stores were so well put together. People on the streets were just so effortlessly well put together. And I just kind of thought to myself that why don't we do this a lot more in India? And that's when I said, I want to be doing this,
Yeah.
like take 5 things and know how to use it properly, and how to kind of, I loved kind of mix and matching and putting things together, and like, so that's when I got back to India, I kind of decided that let me kind of
Try my hands on it.
in styling, see where it goes. And that was 2010. And yeah, it kind of worked for me. And yeah, here I am.
What is one earliest memory that you have of putting a look together as a child, or that now you look back and you're like, oh, I get it. Like, because sometimes the dots get connected only later, right?
Correct.
So you
correct.
can look back and think, oh, so it was there in me then also.
Yeah.
So do you have a memory like that?
I mean, I did tell you, right? Like with my dolls, I may have 5 pairs of clothes for them, but I knew how to kind of swap their shoes and swap their tops and swap that skirt, and like swap their jewelry and like create multiple looks with those 5 pairs that I had. So I think I knew that I enjoyed doing this even then, and I kept doing that as I grew up with my own wardrobe. And so I knew that I enjoyed just simply creating more out of what I have, So that kind of that inclined me towards.
But do you have a specific memory of putting a look together for your own self? Which you go back to now and you're like, this was there, like
This
in
was
me.
there.
Unconsciously, subconsciously,
Yeah.
it was there somewhere.
Yeah.
Do you remember something like that?
Well, for myself, I think, back in school, for one of my fancy dress competitions, I remember taking like a crop top of mine and like teaming it up with one of my mom's saris and like a retro sunglass and things like that. And I kind of draped it in a very fun way because it wasn't my style to kind of
drape a sari
regularly. Yeah, so I had like wrapped it around my neck like a little
scarf or something.
Scarf, yeah, and like big sunglasses and like a purse of hers and stuff like that. So
like,
I think
yeah,
I liked kind of doing different with the usual way of wearing things. Like even this one for for what you see is from a like a dhoti fusion set from my new collection from the brand, which we're currently showcasing at Fashion Week. And what I've done is I've just teamed it up with a pair of cargo jeans and sneakers. So I like that versatility in clothes, and I keep telling that to my clients even now. If you invest in one item, you should be able to wear it in 10 different ways.
Yeah.
Be it a pair of pumps, or be it a pair of denims, or be it a jacket, or even an entire ensemble. You should be, if it has three components, you should be able to break it down into multiple
Three
ways
different outfits altogether.
and use it in such a way that no one would ever recall that, oh, this is the same, this is from that outfit.
Yeah.
So that's something that I've always enjoyed, and I think that kind of it's like in me to just do that, to that kind of break things, put things together in different ways.
Yeah. It shows, and this looks very vibrant, and it's more about like your individuality, right?
Correct.
You wear,
Correct.
like you pick up one piece and it showcases your individual
Correct.
personality
on
and
how you carry it.
and
ways.
what you feel on the inside also, maybe.
Absolutely.
Because that's the representation that you put out. You know, how you're feeling inside. That's what you put out through clothes.
Correct.
Great, interesting. Talk to me about, you know, from there you were like, okay, now I'm inclined towards putting looks together and everything. How did you actually start? Because I feel like years back, styling was not looked at as a profession, maybe.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And how did you like get your head around it that I can make this a profession? Like, this is not just my passion, but I can turn it into a profession. How did that happen?
Of course, there were people, you know, when I started styling in 2010, or rather started off as an assistant stylist, there were already a few known big names in the country who were doing it. So, so I learned from them. I moved on to doing projects on my own, and then I landed up on my first gig. I think my first male celebrity that I styled was Saif Ali Khan.
Wow.
And it was for Amun Nacho Banyan.
But what a treat to style Saif,
But but that kind of gave me a perspective that something that simple as a product also comes with so many different, so many different small details that need to be looked into when you come to styling it, right? So I remember that they had three different films that they were shooting with that one product, which is one, he was supposed to be working out in the gym, one, he was at home chilling, and like a pizza delivery guy came in, and something else was where he's just cooking in the kitchen, something. So each of those had different versions of how that one product could be styled. One with like gym trainers and like joggers, and then the other one was like just a pair of at home when he's like cooking something for his friends, was like just layering it with a linen shirt and a pair of denims. So all these three were very different with that same white kanji, you kind of style it in different ways. And then my first female celebrity was actually was Sania Mirza, and that was for a red carpet. That was my first red carpet event that I styled. And then on, it was word of mouth. Back then, Instagram was not the thing. There was no Instagram. So, and Facebook, really, people didn't look at as a
it was not everything was not so out at that time. People were still figuring it out.
It was just word of mouth. People did not have this mode to find out who styled who. So it was that. And
how was it styling Sania, and what kind of look did you put together for her?
So she was winning an award at, I think, the JFW Women's Awards in at that year in 2012, if I'm not wrong. For me, I knew that she's young, and she's like a very well accomplished sportswoman, and known across the world. So I was very clear that I don't want to give her anything too over the top or overwhelming for a sports personality. I wanted to keep it very classic, very clean, and yet, okay, it is red carpet, so we will do something that is of a gown length, but we will not have that trail, and we will not have,
it will not overshadow her.
We'll not have lace and tulle and flounce, and no, none of all that jazz. We'll keep it very clean, classic. And So I went with a black and white, sleek cut gown, and a nice bun, and where we kind of kept it very like very clean, smart, sexy, young, and that zone. And yeah, so that was the first red
Yeah,
carpet
yeah.
look that I worked on as Celebrity.
You don't want to like overshadow the personality of the
That's right.
person, right?
Or rather, bring out something really different in them that the world hasn't seen them in.
True. Yeah.
Right. So, and that bringing out does not mean just going over the top with something, but that bringing out means that working around what their image, their personality, and their perceived image could be.
Right. You know, styling in general can be very personal and all.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is the kind of process that goes on behind the scenes
Okay.
to make sure that, like we spoke about Sanya, where you said that you didn't want to overshadow her personality. You want to bring out something new, something unique, that's great.
Yeah.
So, how do you do that? Like, what is the process of doing that?
Of course, we first want to understand what is the event, where is it happening, who is the celebrity, and accordingly, we one of the jobs of a stylist is to gauge personalities and accordingly work around that. So styling is a lot of coordination. 90% of styling is coordination. Okay, coordinating with 1,000 different designers from India, from internationally, working across different time zones, shipping things on very tight deadlines, and finding something very unusual and which is new, which can be something that people would aspire to try. And yeah, so there is a lot of, it just looks very glamorous, but it is a lot of work behind the scenes.
Yeah.
It may look like, okay, you just styled somebody for an event, but it's a week or so of sometimes even longer. If it's a very important red carpet, then you're probably even working on it for a longer time. But a lot of times we get very, very tight deadlines, like as tight as 24 hours to put something together. So which also means that you have to be well updated with everything that's happening around. So you just have to work that fast on, knowing what you want and then calling for it and things like that. So there's a whole process on, making sure that the pieces are in the right size and they're comfortable, and right from the footwear to the jewelry to everything, right from maybe even a hair and makeup reference, because sometimes if the outfit's great and the the hair's not done right, then you fall flat, right? So it is a whole process that
the whole look has to come together perfectly,
cohesively together. That's right.
Exactly. Yeah, like you said, it's like a whole process. Like, say for example, somebody watching wants to hire you, wants to be like, okay, I want Esha to style me. What is the process? Like, they reach out to you, they tell you this is what I'm looking for.
That's right.
Then what do you get to doing? Like,
so it depends on who it is. So apart from celebrity styling, we also work with a lot of real people. We have brides, we have families for weddings, and we also have a lot of HNIs whose wardrobe we manage. So it totally depends on who the client is and what their requirement would be. So we work around that. Some could be for helping them put together a wardrobe, shopping internationally, shopping in India. Some could be specifically for an upcoming wedding in the family where the bride and the groom and the family would want to be styled. And today, even real people want to look like Bollywood stars. They want to look the best. It's not about just like, okay, we have the money, we'll just go pick a designer. We'll just pick like these 3 designers and we're done. No, they want to have that option. They want to have that guidance of, okay, fair enough, we know the designer, but are we doing the right thing? Are we wearing the right thing? What can be done? Should we customize something? So they want that one hand holding that you would get, and someone they trust. So I think that's one important aspect apart from just putting together looks for them. With a lot of real people, we kind of become one of them, and they have to start trusting you. So that's half the job done in getting
Yeah.
them to convince them to do what you think is good for them.
You talked about brides, right?
Uh-huh.
Weddings in India are such high energy, emotion
Yeah, that's right.
events.
Correct.
In that, how do you manage to do something new? Like you said that, there's a lot of hand holding that requires, because
Correct.
um, you know the designer, but what if you don't know your body type and you pick the wrong garment, you pick the wrong
Correct.
outfit, your function,
Yeah.
your whole
Yeah.
event
Yeah.
is ruined, right?
Yeah.
You nowadays there's also like a, what do you call it, the color scheme tone that people say that are you this season, like summer, winter, all of that
All of
stuff.
that, yes.
So all of that goes into it at the
All of that
now.
goes into it. So, like I said, yes, it is an emotional scene, which is why the first step to working with a bride is to be able to get her to trust you. You know, we take care of everything, making them understand, what colors, what color schemes work with you, what silhouettes work with you, everything. Because for the longest time I actually avoided weddings in my career.
Oh, really?
I thought I wanted to just stick to Bollywood, but I just realized.
But why? What's the reason for it?
I mean, I was
like
too
that.
occupied putting that together, and now
Yeah.
I'm like this child who wants to keep trying new things and new challenges, and learn something new out of it. So when just styling Bollywood day in and out became something that it became a little monotonous. I said, okay, let's also style real people. So we start taking up weddings as well. It's a lot about understanding different cultures and traditions. And so a lot of them today, when a bride comes to me, I will, suppose she's, say, a Marwari bride. I will tell her that, listen, you'll have this Sajan Goat function, you'll have this and this, something that they may not even be aware. And then she'll ask her mother-in-law and she'll come back and say, yeah, we have these things, so we need clothes for that also.
Yeah.
Or if it's a Maharashtrian bride, I'll tell her that you will have at least 3-4 kelvans from people who want to host pre-wedding.
What is that?
These are like pre-wedding dinners that people host, fuel dinners or lunches or
Right.
whatever.
For the couple? Or
it could be for the couple or for either one side of the family.
Okay.
So, I have understood cultures in so many different ways that today you just have to tell me which part of the country are you from, and I will tell you what other functions come with it before and after.
Yeah.
So it's about understanding them, their culture, comfort, and brides can be a little unreasonable closer to the wedding day.
Really?
And that's fair. The term bridezilla does exist.
Wow.
That
Tell
term
me
is
more. Tell me
that
more.
term is just not.
I want to know
but
more.
Then comes your expertise of knowing how to handle them and put that confidence in them that you're in the right path. You don't have anything to panic about.
Yeah.
I very fondly remember this episode on when I took on my first wedding client. It was basically this political family where the lady came and told me that in her she had 2 sons. So the older one's wedding, she didn't use a stylist, but she had picked up this lehenga for the reception, which the bride's friend ended up wearing on the Sangeeta day before, and they were at a destination wedding, and she was like, I didn't enjoy my son's reception because everyone had seen that same outfit on stage the previous night.
That for a bride is like...
That for the bride's mom.
My heart goes out to her.
Groom's mom. Groom's mom.
Yeah.
So that on the bride's best friend, and she was completely kind of...
Yeah.
So then she, then it was her second son's wedding when she approached us, and she's like, I want a stylist for the whole family. And, I don't want to get into this soup again.
Yeah. You don't want like somebody
that's when we realized that this can't be boring. Weddings definitely have their own set of challenges and they can be fun. So, yeah, I mean, having those kind of personal relations with all the designers in the country and also internationally, because we source for red carpets and stuff. So it was very easy for us to reach out to our designer friends and get them to customize things, which otherwise is not an option. And there's always a huge risk when you're customizing something, because if you're not seeing it
Yeah, you have to imagine it.
If you can't imagine it, then you have to, the stylist is taking the risk by telling you that, okay, we're going to do this and trust me on this. When it comes, you will love it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's the challenge that I love taking up.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's worked for me. A lot of times my clients are NRI brides and grooms who just come once, do their one trip of selecting things with me, and then they go back and they just
Relaxed.
have their clothes for the wedding on time, and they know that there's no stress there.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I
Because
quite enjoy that
yeah,
bit, and I also I learn a lot from my real clients, because it's an entire different world that I'm interacting with. I remember once that we were styling uh, Ramdev Agarwal of Motilal Oswal,
Okay.
him and his family, for his son's wedding.
Hmm.
And I remember in our sourcing trips, he being like the finance
OG.
of India, he would talk to me about, so tell me, how are you saving money? I will teach you how to save money, how to invest your money properly.
Wow.
So it's fun, because they're all from such accomplished different walks of life and
Yeah.
different fields. And I get to kind of open up and learn about so many other things from these clients of mine, which I quite enjoy.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't want to be stuck in the same rut
Bubble.
of, in that same bubble of just doing one thing. So you're kind of,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're getting a taste of
Yeah,
different flavors, different
things that people are doing, and it's
Yeah.
so amazing how, and a lot of these people are, even though they're so very accomplished in life, they're so grounded and they're so lovely to work with. So I've enjoyed working with, uh, uh, real people along with Bollywood.
Yeah. I mean, they bring so much perspective, or like you said, but also so much character.
Yeah.
They don't have like, say, for a Bollywood person, they are expected to be a certain way.
Correct.
Here they have their, they're not expected to be anyway. So they will just be their real
self.
They will.
Yeah. No, but even very small things, even amongst celebrities, like for example, if I'm working with a sports star, like Neeraj Chopra.
Yeah, the Olympian.
The javelin Olympian. So a lot of my sports celebrities they're so used to carrying their own bags at tournaments and stuff, so they don't want somebody to come and help them wear shoes. Like, he wouldn't even let my dress man go to him to make him wear shoes. He'd be like, no, I would want to wear my own shoes. Or if my team is carrying like a lot of stuff like suitcases and stuff, then he'd be like, "Arey, I'll take one." So I've seen that only within my sports stars. So that's something that I quite. It's a different flavor, right,
Yeah,
to work
yeah.
with, and and then it's just nice how you meet so many different people. My work, through my work, I'm fortunate enough to be learning so much with interacting with so many different people.
Yeah. I just want to talk about, are there people dressing people for shoes? Like, people have people who put their shoes on?
Yeah, of course, we have dressmen,
Yeah, dressmen.
who
Yeah.
are
So
it's
helping, like everything. Like, they just dress you up.
Yeah, they're kind of there to like make you wear your shoes.
Right.
Or like help you hold your jacket when you don't want to wear it.
Okay.
And typically, this is something that we use only at shoots.
Shoots, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's longer hours, and so we always have a dressman who's, say, holding the jacket,
Right.
helping you with shoes, heels, especially for girls.
Yeah.
They can't be wearing it throughout the time, so they want to remove it at some point, and when it's ready, the shot is ready, they want to be wearing it. So
I asked you about like a particular bridal experience where you had to, put something together for the bride, and any challenge that you faced or any experience like that.
Well, I do sometimes get a clash of brief from the two sides of the family. Like, I remember working with a bride who was very subtle, non-bling and all of that. And then her in-laws side was a very out there socializing kind of a family who loved everything larger than life. And, they loved the bling. I remember the brief from this side was, I want to wear, gunmetal gray. I want to keep it
Hmm.
like that. And the brief from that side was give her gold and give her, massive trails. And,
Wow.
so there was that middle ground that you meet
Yeah.
when you work with two different mindsets. And it always works out. We've never had that challenge. But I very fondly remember a recent bride who was, at her wedding. She was getting her hair and makeup done, and she realized that the lehenga, she was in her blouse, and she realized the lehenga was actually not to be found when it was time to. And it was in some other room in some hotel. And I remember calling the designer and saying that, listen, can you send another lehenga right now? Because it's time for her fairas and we'll take care of whatever it is.
My
And in that
God.
much time, she comes and says, oh, this aunt of mine took it to her room. So, yeah, it's hilarious in
My
that 30
God.
minutes of chaos how we have figured a designer to open her store in the middle of the night and send another lehenga, sure, out of trust that,
It's
and
gonna work.
it was out of, yeah, it was like for like some 25 lakhs. And she was like, I know you. You'll make sure that the payment comes to us tomorrow. I'm just sending it right now because the bride can't find us.
Oh my
So we
God.
had a lot of funny such incidents. And yeah, and this was during COVID,
Oh.
when there was a limitation on the number of people who could be there at a
Hmm.
wedding, and my team could not. They could not have my team on ground to
That's why it all
help.
happened.
And
That's
but
crazy.
yeah, we have such challenges to
What a
deal with at
nightmare.
times. But it's fun when you look at it later.
Yeah. Talk to me about, you also have your own label
That's right.
that
Yeah,
you are
yeah.
wearing also right
That
now.
is right.
How did you think that, oh, I want to start my own label now? You always had that inclination towards design and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But how did you come up with the idea? What did you want to create with your own label? Talk to me about that a little bit.
So, I studied design. I was working, like I said, with a European design house for about 3.5 years before I got into styling. And it was only when I started styling, and it was probably around 6, 7 years down the line of styling, did I realize that every time there was something that I wanted and I couldn't find it, I would make it. I would make it, for an ad, for a film. I started making things that I couldn't find, and that I think gave me that push that, start a brand. And even when I started my brand, I was super like not so aggressively working on it. And I think one of my biggest motivations at that time, or motivating person at that time, was Miss Devi ma'am.
Oh, wow.
And she knew that thing of me whenever she wanted something and she couldn't find it, and I would make it for her. And I fondly remember her. She kept making me do that, and that's when she said that you should do all this in your brand. You should make such clothes in your brand. And I remember one of my early launches for my brand. She was there to support me.
How lovely.
And of course, all my other clients, my actresses, have always supported me. And I've been very blessed that way, that they would come for my shows, they would work for me, they would be there for my launches, and with full energy, with no hang-ups about being a celebrity. And they would just kind of make it so calm and easy for me that we're there, but you don't stress, it's your day, And she was one of them for this. And what I really, really still, it's etched in my memory, is the fact that when she came there, she first went up to my family and she spoke to them, and she told my mom
Wow.
that your daughter is very grounded, humble, and she's going to go a long way because she's so hardworking. And she said that in her bites that evening. And I
Wow.
think that for me, that was like, it was probably one of the happiest moments to see my parents just go gleaming and, happy
Yeah.
about how someone comes and says this to them about their child. And I
And someone
think
who's Sri Devi. You mentioned Sri Devi.
that's
There
right.
are so many other celebrities that you've styled,
Uh-huh.
from Karisma Kapoor to the new generation, Kartik Aaryan to
Uh-huh.
Ishan Khattar to Janvi Kapoor, all of the big A-listers, right?
Yeah.
I was going to ask, who has been your most fun celebrity to work with?
So in the recent times, there was a shoot that we did with Kartik Aaryan for an editorial cover, and it had about 5 looks. And we literally shot that in flat 45-50 minutes.
What?
Yeah,
All 5 looks?
all 5 looks. And it was, uh, he walked in saying that, let's challenge. Will the coffee that we order now come sooner, or the shoot wraps up first?
Wow.
And literally the last shot, the photographer said wrap up, and the coffee guy was there
How
ringing the
fun.
bell. So yeah, so we've had some crazy
Fun
fun
moments.
shoots like this where it's something to remember of. Mr. Bachchan, I remember the first time I worked with him, we were shooting about 6 ads, and I remember it was the very first time I worked with him, and he met us, gave us a brief, and we put that all together. And on the shoot, there were no trials before the shoot. He just came on set, and he hadn't like seen the clothes once before or something like that. It was his brief was so clear. We just kind of had to keep our fingers crossed that
he likes it.
He's gonna like it, and he's going to fit into it perfectly. And to my challenge that day, wide shots and back shots and things like that, which normally you shoot with a body double. And we keep a separate set of clothes identical to the actor, for that. And they shot with a body double first. And I'm like, normally, we never do that, because suppose the actor makes even a minor change, like a pocket square is changed, then you
have to do it all over again. What do you do?
Yeah, so I was just like keeping fingers crossed that nothing's gonna change. And it happened like that. So I'm like, wow, that was one thankful day of life.
At his age, the way he still works and everything is commendable.
It's commendable. Punctuality, professionalism, it's just amazing.
True.
Hats off. That's someone to learn from.
Absolutely. Tell me about some celebrities that you look forward to styling. Those are your dream people to style. It could be from any background, any field.
Okay.
But just to explore your creativity.
Yeah. I think
who are those people?
There's one person who I'm so in love with. It's Blake Lively. I just love the way she carries herself, and I want to kind of, I dream of styling her someday. She's just such an...
she's a diva.
Yeah, such a diva. Be it in a pair of denims, or be it like in a red carpet look, or even like in a fun casual day look. She's just so well put together.
Yeah, coolest chick around at this time.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see what how you style her.
Opportunity to do that.
I wish you get it, and I can't wait to see it, because it's one of the people...
It's definitely going to be a fun one if I do get to play dress up with her.
And she's cool like that. She can take, she can wear this also.
Yeah, she could wear this.
She could wear this and make it look, make it rock.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that would be interesting. That would be very interesting. Now talk to me about some of the brands that are your go-to brands that you love. Some designers, some brands.
Okay.
Also some staples that everyone should have.
Okay. So, I mean, designers, I'm absolutely loving how our Indian designers, Rahul Mishra, Gaurav Gupta, Vaishali S, are killing it in the international runway. So, it's amazing how they've become global names. Otherwise, amongst international names, I've always loved Michael Cinco and Prabal Gurung. Amongst the Indian other designers, I love Atsu. He's so different. And a lot of brands, which are my go-to brands, would be DKNY and Other Stories.
And Other Stories from Spain.
Yeah. Desigual.
Lovely brand.
So many fun, interesting high street brands which kind of have very unique things that you could kind of buy and wear in very different ways. Staples, I would say everyone must have a bunch of these things which you could use forever, you know. Um, a pair of blue jeans, a classic white shirt, a white tee or a camisole, a tank or a crop top that you could style in different ways. You
Right.
have to have them in white, black, you know, these colors. Um, a, a cool blazer that fits you well, you know, which you could dress up or down depending on
Right.
where you're going. Um, Definitely a pair of sneakers and white. For those of you who are afraid of, who want more height, then you have options of wedge sneakers and things like that,
Yeah.
and they're available in most of the brands today.
Yeah.
And yes, a pair of nude heels, and when I say nude, the perfect nude that goes with you. That kind of is, when in doubt, you know that if an outfit is tricky or quite overwhelming and you don't know what color footwear to go with, then that one's your go-to
Right.
footwear.
Yeah.
A pair of sunglasses that work for your face type. Yeah, well, the staples are a long list though.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
at least these, you know, because these things you can wear forever and they're never going out of style.
Yeah. These do the job, you know,
Yeah,
forever.
yeah.
Technology
Mm-hmm.
is coming into fashion, you know, now.
Yeah.
How do you see that? How do you see fashion adopting technology,
Mm-hmm.
like AI tools and everything?
Correct.
And how do you see the fashion space evolving, and where do you see it
Yeah.
in the next 5 years? Or
Well, technology has always been a part of fashion, but of course, with AI, things are just changing. You know, the
Yeah.
game is changing. Well, we would always see shoots where, you know, suppose in a celebrity shoot where an actor is only giving a limited number of hours, and say if it's like a t-shirt brand or something, you know, and they have multiple colorways of the same t-shirt.
yeah.
So they probably shoot one on the actor, and then on post the colorways would change, you know, and they would have uh, all the three colorways with the
Yeah.
same actor just on post. So that's of course that was one way of technology which gave you the you know, option of multiplying what you shoot. And with AI now, I think there is so much that's going on in terms of suddenly there are virtual runways, there are 360-degree views of garments that you know, when you're shopping online, and you even have the option of having a virtual avatar of you. You can like punch in your you know, body measurements and your photograph, and then you'll have the garment that you want to shop or buy. You'll have, like, you know, a virtual avatar of you wearing it and walking, and you know, literally helping you imagine what that looks on,
Right.
what that would look on you. So I think it's amazing how technology is just and AI is just like making things so easy for people. I'm not sure how customized that would be. What I mean is, it could be generic and it could be helpful like
True.
that, but how specifically is it meant for you? Of course, human touch and feel has its niche, and it has a certain edge which I feel would never be
Go out of
able,
style.
yeah, would never go out
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it does make things very easy on a very generic level, but not so on a very customized, personalized level.
Yeah. I think that's true for all the professions
All
who
the
are
professions, yeah.
who see
Yeah.
AI coming into
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
coming into their
absolutely.
profession.
Yeah,
So
like,
yeah.
you know, there are AI doctors today. So they'll tell you what is
Yeah.
specific for a generic cold cough, this and that.
Yeah.
But if you have something major, you're definitely not going to rely on an AI
Yeah.
doctor.
True.
You'll want to go and so
Yeah.
so I think that's how it is for every profession.
True. You mentioned designers, that relationship, you built relationship with designers over time. You know, say a young aspiring stylist at the moment, wondering where do I start? How do you build relationships with designers?
Okay.
You know, so talk to me about that. How did you do it, and what advice would you give to someone if they are?
Well, you know, the first thing is a lot has changed over the years, you know. I think the first step should be forget building relations with designers. First, build relations with the stylist you work for. First, be loyal there. Be consistent there.
Whoever you are working under.
Yeah, because I see a lot of course, the next generation is the current, the Gen Zs are very, they're fun, they're cool, all of that. But, it's a bit too much for me to handle things like mental health and all of that, and health at 20s. What is all of this?
Yeah. What are you depressed about?
Yeah.
Life hasn't even happened yet.
Correct. So all of that, I feel like they're too protected. They're too protected, meaning the minute the life shows up as a little burden or a little hectic, they just have no like motivation sometimes to push themselves to do that. They'll be like, oh no, I'll just tell my parents I quit. And they'll be okay with it. And they'll find me something else. So I just feel that there's a very fast gratification, fast everything, like I said, when we started off, there was no Instagram. We worked for years not getting any sort of social media credit or gratification that we have done this look or that look.
Yeah.
Today, everything is like instant gratification.
Yeah.
You come on a shoot with us and that you want something out of it, even before you've learnt the tricks of styling or the process of styling. So that's something that I would say, that calm down on the whole instant gratification, instantly clicking things from a shoot and storying and Snapchatting. Calm down on that.
Well said.
It's not going to make you the biggest stylist of the generation just because you've put out a story from a shoot, which you should actually not be putting, because these are confidential things at the moment, So I feel like a lot of that kind of upsets me, that you commit something and then you don't keep up that commitment. You commit saying that, I teach me everything. And then when you're almost done, you kind of just change route in life, which I feel is,
not fair.
Not fair.
Yeah.
Not fair. So then why teach?
Absolutely.
So I mean, I think that whole exploring life can happen at a slower pace. Okay?
Interesting.
Yeah, like we stuck around with people for years. With people we worked. I mean, 3 years was a very small but reasonable time with each employee that we worked with.
Yeah. Nowadays, it's like eternity. 3 years is like eternity.
Oh, wow, 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in our time, 3 years was like, oh, you just worked for 3 years under this one, and they'll be like...
Still have more to go.
Yeah, but here it's like 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, that is where it is,
Yeah.
They've decided to switch careers and explore. From styling, they want to now do social media marketing, and they want to do everything in that span. And like, I just feel like there's too much of a chaos which needs to calm down. So I just feel like that whole thing of, I'm here to stay. You invest in me and I will
give back.
Give it back. Give back when it's the right time, when I've learned it all. That is missing in today's generation.
It's sad because it should be. It can be such a great motivation.
Yeah, absolutely.
It can
because
be
then you wanna
so
motivate them. You wanna do more for them. You want to show them a better side of perks of enjoying this
life.
This career, which they're not here to enjoy that. By then they've already probably even shifted careers.
Right.
Yeah.
And all these throwing out all these mental health terms, I feel like has become a sort of fashion nowadays. Like there was this somebody also saying that it's out of FOMO, that somebody else is going through it or like experiencing it or feeling it.
And then you want to experience that.
Or maybe become a part of it. And because that's what people are talking about nowadays. Now we'll move to a little bit more fun segment. It's called Curious Quick 5. So are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. What's the one thing that you're curious about recently? It could be anything. apart from fashion, something completely random.
Okay. So I'm very curious with my travels. You
Okay.
know, I'm always curious to go somewhere new. Like you said, you were from Kutch, and I'm like, I've been meaning to go there. I wanna, I wanna see Run of Kutch. You know,
Yeah.
so I'm always curious, and I think it's a lot about traveling, cultures, and things like that. Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Interesting. What's the one person that you're curious about, living or dead? Could be anyone.
Wow. I think my husband's like one person who's always a mystery with like there's always something new
Interesting.
that I keep learning about him. Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice, nice. I'm sure that helps.
Yeah, it helps.
You know,
It helps.
I'm sure
Yeah.
that helps.
Yeah.
What's the one book or author you're curious about?
Wow. You know, to be honest, I'm not much of a reader. I am a very visual person.
Then
So
you could
I
say some
can
designer, upcoming art,
yeah,
anything,
like
artist.
I can watch movies. I love watching a lot of documentaries. I love watching movies. I'm a visual person. I'm not somebody who's I left that a long ago when I started
Right.
when I moved into fashion. I think I stopped that habit of reading, you
Reading.
know, on a regular basis. But yeah, a lot of documentaries. You know, House of Gucci, which is not really a documentary, but really talks about how massive brand of this sorts was built from her, where and many others. Like I watch a lot of fashion documentaries, Gianni Versace's story, you know, so things like that, which a lot of movies that I can keep watching again and again, just for how I completely relate to what's going on there.
Yeah.
September issue or the intern and things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I'm more of a visual person. So books, no.
Right.
But if you make that book into a movie,
Fair
I'll
enough.
watch that.
What's the one place you're curious to travel to,
You know,
apart from Kutch?
oh yeah. So until recently, this Christmas, until then, Amalfi was like on my curious list, which I've ticked off. And this Christmas, when I went to Lisbon and Spain, I think Marbella was something that kind of has my heart. You know, there's something about that place which I am definitely gonna go there again. And in I feel Italy in general, you know, you throw a like a pin somewhere and wherever it falls on the map of Italy, and I would be like, okay, let's go see what that is, and
Yeah.
I'm very sure there's going to be something
Yeah.
new. Having said that, I'm curious to go to two places in India now. One is Ayodhya and one is Lakshadweep. Reason being, I mean, of course, I see a lot of. My mother-in-law just came back from Lakshadweep on a
Okay.
cruise, but you know, I'm hearing there's going to be so much development
Yeah.
in a very short span of time. You know, water villas and all of that. They're
Yeah.
just gonna transform that place, and I'm very curious to go and experience that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so that and yeah.
Sounds exciting. Sounds exciting.
Yeah.
What's the one technology that you're curious about? You mentioned,
AI.
yeah, you mentioned about it.
AI.
Yeah.
I just feel it's such a vast world, and you know, it's still so very unexplored. I'm waiting to see what all can come of it.
Yeah, yeah. With that, we've reached the end of our conversation.
Oh.
So, what are the last thoughts that you would like to share about being on the podcast and any feelings that you would like to share?
I think, Shruti, this was a very smooth, fun conversation, totally at ease. There was nothing very formal and structured about it, but I liked how it didn't just speak about, you know, on my most of my other conversations with any sort of interviews or podcast has always been very, very, very focused on styling or very, very focused about design or fashion. And what I like about this was that you know, this conversation with you is a lot more than just that. And it just spoke about many other things. Like, I don't think people ever knew that I would want to be a dancer or
Yeah.
you know,
Or that you're
things
into
that.
crystals. Like
Or
you
into
keep crystals.
You just noticed that.
Yeah, you keep crystals and you collect tiny things, which I saw. So
So
Yeah, that's
so
lovely.
things like that.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for being on the
It was a
podcast.
pleasure.
It was lovely having you. I look forward to having another conversation with you, and in the next conversation,
Yeah.
maybe we can talk more about the crystal love, the
And
dance
the love for
love,
dancing.
love for dancing.
True that.
And yeah, I mean, I look forward to
I
also
look
see you
forward
win a
to-
lot more awards. We have a few here. And yeah, so keep going and see you very soon.
Thank you
so
for
much.
having me, Shruti.
Thank you.